I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna, no doubt. I'm gonna do it. You're ready to know. She loves Shane's balls.
I totally got it up how I set it out.
Oh, no. Sorry. Give in late on that.
Yeah.
I hope this mic hit.
It never expected anyone.
It's freezing here.
It is always cold. Yes.
I bet you. It was. It's funny that you say that because we wrote, Jen and I wrote together with the boys. We're looking down just as we were starting to head down Jersey. 40. It's cold. Oh, great. It was great. That's not.
And could you be kind enough to say the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joanne, we have an attendance roll call, please.
Douglas Beebe.
Here.
Kathy Buckling.
Here.
Michael Hagedorn. Ed Marin.
Here.
Christopher Michaud. Crystal Palmer. Here. Nicole Pupor. Here. Mark Sand.
Here.
Colleen Stone. Here. Grant Decker.
We have set aside 10 minutes for public comment. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. May it be resolved that the superintendent of schools recommends to the Board of Education to approve the agenda. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Colleen, second?
Second.
Nicole? Any questions or discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstains, resolution passes. We've set aside 10 minutes for public comment. If you would like to make a comment at this time, we're asking that you step forward, state your name. Please limit your comment to 2 minutes. When you came in, you'll notice we now post a paper above the sign-in sheet, and it gives a little bit more structure to our public comment. If you would like to look at that, we would greatly appreciate it. Oh, you forgot. All right, it will be here next time. Is there anyone that would like to address the board at this time? And before you start, I want to remind you that the rules are we are going to adhere to policy. So there is no specific comments about specific people. There's no negative commentary. It is about school issues. Anything else you think of?
School issues, and you have to be. We have to
Board
be.
issues?
What's that?
Board issues?
Well, but you can't address anybody on the board specifically.
I can't, I'm not part of that, but it's board issues.
Okay. Yeah, as long as it's not libelous, and you want to make sure that it's something that's less subjective, more factual. So you got to make sure it's okay.
My name is Cynthia Nato. I'm here for the same reason as I was last year, to request dismissal actions of the same board member. We all know
All
who
right.
I'm talking about.
We have resolved that.
Is that going to put out in writing how it's going to be resolved?
It is resolved.
She is not living in Chazy.
You can't.
It is
You can't
resolved.
do that.
We're done.
Well,
You
I wanna
cannot
see
address
I want
people
to see how it's
specifically.
resolved. I want to
Okay.
know how it's resolved.
Okay, you go to the board of the. Last time we talked about this, we suggested you go to the board of elections and address it with
I
them.
did.
And any issues that were there have been corrected, and you're
Yeah.
welcome to go back.
Okay, and
That's it.
that's it.
They haven't been corrected because
Okay,
she's still
that's
living in
it.
Morrisonville.
We're done.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well, we're not done.
Is there anyone else that would like to approach the board at this time?
Patty LaFlamme, Beekmantown. I was just wondering if the board would consider looking at the veterans thing for the taxes, now that everybody's assessment's gone up and taxes have gone up and stuff. There's a lot of other boards, like the city of Plattsburgh and stuff, that do the, I'm not sure what it is. Is it a percentage off, ed, right, for veterans? So they, and the board decides it. So that's all, like, that was my comment. I'm just hoping the board will look at it again and see if the veterans for Beekmantown can get some kind of savings on their taxes, because they are veterans.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to approach the board at this time? All right, seeing that there are none, we will be moving on. Next, we have presentations. I'm very proud, eagle proud, to introduce Pauline Stone and Barry Finnegan from Honor Flight. They have a special presentation in celebration of the outstanding efforts of our 7th grade PBL team. Accepting their appreciation on behalf of the 7th grade team will be William Duffany and Rebecca Hamilton.
I think he has some students too.
And a bunch of students. So
Come on out.
As I hope everybody in the building here knows what happened recently in this past spring. Team Ascent and the 4th graders all put together a program that sounded impossible when it started, but thanks to great teamwork, everybody pulled this thing off together. Students, faculty, staff, everybody pulled together and made this thing so successful. And it's not just a dollar figure, but to raise $19,000 is just totally unheard of when it comes to Honor Flight. We wanted to do something special for the team that pulled this off. So on behalf of all of Team Ascent and everybody that was involved in that fundraiser, this flag here was sent down the day of the flight and was flown over the top of the Pentagon while our flight was down there in Washington. They take the flag down, put it in a box, and send us a certificate stating that what occurred. And I'll read that to you. The flag of the United States of America. This is to certify that the accompanying flag was flown over the Pentagon on June 22nd, 2019 in honor of William Duffany and all Team Ascent. So, congratulations. Thank you guys. Thank you, Rebecca.
And just one more thing, Robert Reset sat with Duffney on the plane on the way down. And he just couldn't get over how great Mr. Duffney was. I called him to come here because I found someplace and I called him to come here, but he said, I'm 90 years old and I really don't drive at night. But he wanted to be here, and I said I would tell him that thank you so much. Mr. Duffin even visited him at his home after the flight. He was really impressed with that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next topic is our opening of the school this year. And we would like to start with Dan Noonan.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you very much. Dan Noonan, Director of Facilities. I'd like to start by saying we had a great day, first day of school. As far as operations is concerned, busy supporting the staff and administration as usual. We're extremely happy that we were able to pull together all the classrooms and all the spaces that have been affected by the capital project. So that's our opening thing. As far as projects for district initiated type projects that buildings and grounds were involved with this year, we did a small renovation in the middle school. We added on an office, replaced some carpet. Of course, most people noticed we did pavement sealing. That was not connected with the capital project. That was a district initiative, sealing and relining. We're also doing some repair work at Cumberland Head on the roof on a small leak that's been an issue for some time. We did some classroom alterations as far as supporting the administration and instructional staff. That's the district initiative. We did the high school gym floor, of course. We did the boiler maintenance. Of course, we did all the semi-annual filter changes of all the classroom cabinet unit ventilators, as well as the air handling units. My maintenance staff have been busy assisting the superintendent and Mr. Scott as far as following up in the closure of the EPC project, and also assisting in the management of the capital project. I think that's about what we've been doing. Thank you very much.
Just a smidge busy.
Excellent, thanks.
All right, excellent. Next, I would like to introduce Roxanne Barnes.
I'd like to start off with summer. Just so you all know, we served 7,500 meals over the summer. And I just want to shout out everybody that was involved in that, not just the staff at Cumberland Head, the faculty over there, but Mr. Manny and the Youth Commission had camps here. They were involved with meals this year. And of course, Jump Camp. We have that all organized, Mr. Cutera and I, about how many kids are there, how many bag lunches they're going to get. So now that we've got it down nice and smooth, it'll probably change next year.
We'll be here.
With the challenges in the elementary school, when I met with my staff at the beginning of the year, we talked about how it's very important that the front of the house have no idea of the craziness that's going on in the back of the house. That we present down there every day with our meals and everything goes great. So I spoke with Sarah for a few minutes today, and she did say the teachers were impressed with what we were doing and the line was going smooth. So I was glad to hear that. That made my day. A shout out to the cafeteria staff. That changes every day depending on the meal. We don't have a lot of refrigeration space, so as far as keeping the food safe, it's interesting. Today's challenge was a draft and walking around finding the draft. So that's about all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good job this summer.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Jim Chauvin.
First, I want to say thank you for not putting me after the honor flight people. That was great. Awesome. So this is a good spot to be. Anyway, feel we had a great opening. Things kind of went well, considering we lost 5 people to retirements and resignations. Replacing people as bus drivers right now is kind of tough. So I felt all in all, we've done a good job to get that corrected and moving forward. So things settle down a little more every day, so getting a pattern. Okay. New buses were purchased as per the budget vote in July. I thank the board and gasoline, bus purchases, I feel those things are saving us a ton of money and will forward. This last round, we got a 10-year powertrain warranty for $1,200 on the cost of the bus, so I think that's great. So thanks very much for supporting that initiative. And other than that, I think things are going great.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Next would be Polly Taverny.
Okay, just a quick update on special education department. The biggest thing we have is that we opened 2 new integrated preschool classrooms in our UPK3 program. So we have 1 in each building in each elementary school. We received approval at the end of July from the state ed department, and we were able to hire and get staffing in place for the start of the year. So that's exciting. A lot of our preschool students now getting services from a team within the district throughout the day, every day. So it's been really beneficial. And everything else has started smooth as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Do you want to start with high school or elementary?
Elementary, little mentors.
Apparently you're the little guy.
Always willing to step up. So, good evening, everybody. So, started off great summer. We had August 20th, we had the freshman orientation. Freshmen came in, made our peer connectors here, giving tours for those students, really making a connection for those freshmen coming up. Make sure they felt comfortable on our campus day one. You know, it's kind of cool to see the big eyes of the freshmen coming up, and you know the excitement that they have, and kind of that anxiety that they have. We want to kind of limit that a little bit. So really working with our peer connectors, and so that some of you guys don't know what our peer connectors do. They're upperclassmen that really work with our younger students. We utilize them if we see kids sitting in the cafeteria by themselves. They go in and sit with them. So it's really a unique little plan that we have here on campus that those students really help out and make the anxiety level, down for our kids. They're leaders on our campus, and they do a great job with that. And we utilize them quite a bit, which is an awesome thing. And that was part of the orientation. Kids got to kind of go run their schedules. We had a little meeting in the auditorium, kind of over a few things on my end of it. So it started on August 20th as kind of the opening day for us in the high school. Moving on, we had the freshman peer connectors on the first day, or last Friday. They had a kind of a day to hang out with the freshmen. So they had, they got to interact with our upperclassmen a little bit on the field. They got to hang out, do a couple of games, really build that capacity and build that family-oriented culture that we're really trying to get there. That same day, we had a barbecue for the whole high school. We had our moving up ceremony in the high school gymnasium, where our students go from one level to the next, and really want to build that family culture again. That's really my big thing, is really talking to our kids, and we're a family. We take care of each other. And that's the goal, and that's what we've really been focusing on. It was great to see our seniors support our freshmen as they're moving up and so on. So that's a tip, and Grant's the leader in our seniors, and I could really see that they're supporting our younger group. We also had this past Monday, we had grade level assemblies, where we met kind of with every grade level, kind of went over the expectations with them, many different policies that we're looking at doing to make sure that they're implemented. We also had the crime unit come in and talk about safety with internet safety, cell phone safety, so that they're aware of the implications that cell phones have, not only now, but in the future. So it was a nice little presentation from them to come in and let our kids hear it. 9 through 12, each grade level came in and listened to that presentation. This week, we're getting right into the curriculum. We're talking with department meetings, with an ELA meeting Monday, an AIS meeting with those teachers today. We're really looking at data driving that instruction, making sure that we're taking advantage of all the instructional time in the classrooms. So it's going great. We're busy. We're making sure that we're running. We're hitting the ground running. So excited for this year. Excited to improve. We're excited to make it a better year this year. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Middle school.
I want to begin by just acknowledging buildings and grounds and the amazing work their crew did in the middle school. I think it was 3 weeks before I started the school year, and I went home and had a small breakdown. I didn't know if it was really going to happen, but I don't know why I doubt them. They do amazing work every year, and it looks awesome and beautiful. So no wires coming down from the ceiling, which I was a little worried about, but thank you, Mr. Noonan and your crew. That was awesome. Great work. So we had some great beginning to the school. We had a great beginning to the school year. We started off by kicking it up with our 6th grade back to school event. Stewart's Shops donated ice cream. We had a huge turnout for that event. Sixth graders came with their parents, enjoyed playing in the courtyard and listening to a presentation of the expectations and routines for our sixth graders and what they can expect on the first day to get some of those jitters out of the way. It was then followed up by our first new student orientation for our 7th and 8th graders that we held on September 3rd. We felt that it would be a good idea so that our new students would be familiar with the building, and also with some students. We had a panel of current 8th grade students present that facilitated the tour, answered questions, and we played some icebreakers with the students. So they saw that familiar face on that first day to help them out. So that was a pretty positive experience. I asked one of the students how it went, if that was helpful, and she said, oh yeah, and she was walking with one of the kids she went to the orientation with. So felt pretty positive, and we have 13 new 7th and 8th graders, and about 7 showed up that night, so it was a pretty positive experience. The first day of school went off with an alternative schedule. We had a shortened bell schedule for the core classes, and then we had an activity period at the end of the day in which Mike Johnson, Assistant Principal Mike Johnson, the counselors, and myself did a short presentation in this library with the students on the floor about the expectations and changes to the student handbook. We also talked about Top 20 and about the importance of being a bottom panda for our fellow students. And we also spoke about just the value of team and community and how we can support one another and who they can go to for help. That is really supported by a new program we have in the middle school called Advisory. I did receive a lot of questions when students received their schedules. What is this Advisory? It took the place of opposite lunch study hall. And so what Advisory is, it's really a small group of students, about 12 to 13 students with one teacher, and the goal is to build those relationships and a support system with those students. So the teachers have a point person to go to and connect with. So, and the groups are very mixed. They're not with their traditional peer groups that they might have in the same class. For instance, our accelerated students have Teen Peak students and PBL students in their class, so they're all mixed. So building those bonds and really stretching socially, and so their comfort level in their zones. Another new program that we have is we added about 20 more students to our accelerated program this year. Based on the performance last year of these students as 7th graders, specifically in math, we thought that with a valuable middle school program, we need to challenge our students, right, and provide them with a way to be challenged and have a rigorous curriculum. And so we added about, like I said, 20 students to Team Vertex, and it's going pretty well. I think we mixed up the groups a little bit, tried to keep them mainstreamed in algebra so that Ms. Bruyere, the algebra teacher, could really personalize instruction and differentiate for that specific group because they didn't have that background last year as 7th graders. But this group of 7th graders that we moved up is exceptional and high achieving group. You see that on the state test scores. You see that on their STAR scores. They actually, all of them tested above grade level when it came to math on the STAR test. So that is a little bit about the middle school. We're off and rolling. We've had courier staffing in to do presentations with Team Summit. Tomorrow, the 9/11 panel's coming in for Team Ascent. We have field trips for Team Summit and Team Vertex, one to Whiteface, one to Arbor Track, about team building. So we started rolling. We're ready to go.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
I got a couple of questions
Yep,
for you,
go
Mike.
ahead.
So I love what you guys have done with the advisory component.
Yeah.
Because I know that one of the concerns we had last year was there started to be some segregation between students because of where they're placed.
Yes.
And so it's really nice that you guys are doing that. That helps a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the expansion of the AP. At least I did, because we got more kids getting involved into being challenged.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question on that. So the kids that started before intensively, right, on that, and now coming into the new year, and we're bringing in more kids that were selected. And Mr. Maddox did a nice job of breaking that down in one of our board reports.
Yeah.
My question is, how are you guys managing the new students coming in to catch up with the kids that have already been in there? And how does that affect the students that are already there? Does that slow them down? How does that work?
That's a great question. One of the things we have put in place is Algebra Lab, which is similar to a study hall. Ms. Briere is there to have that extra support. And we also have another study hall specifically for Team Vertex students with Ms. Majura, who's also a certified math teacher. Social studies, math, what are the odds? And so she's there to provide that support for students as well. With regards to slowing down, the students that are in there have tested at over grade 10 in terms of STAR, and so their algebra readiness is right on point. However, we have supports in place in case we need to pull them out. The algebra class, I believe there were only, with the students that were in accelerated last year, I believe there were only 3 students from the new group in that class, and that was based on scheduling. So Ms. Briere can operate with that class as a whole as they were in there last year.
Nice, really nice job.
The other thing that we talked about, the initiative, I'm so proud of you for having the courage to launch that initiative, is that our students, actually, because of the Common Core, have been engaged in algebra type activities in math at very, very young age. If you take a look at what they're doing in 3rd grade, they're solving for A. That's algebra.
Right.
You know, so the safeguards that you put in place are phenomenal. But the notion that our kids are just being exposed to algebra, that goes back deeper because of the Common Core. So I think it's a great plan, and I think they're going to be met with success.
Great, thanks so much.
Any other questions?
Good job.
All right, thank you.
All right, do we want to go alphabetical order by building or by last name of principal?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I, too, am going to start by thanking Mr. Noonan and his crew. I was actually here Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day weekend, and his crew was here full force and working very diligently to get my building up and running. So it was very much appreciated, and they did a really nice job to get things ready. I also want to give my teachers a huge shout out for their unwavering commitment and resilience during this whole construction process. For us, it started probably the 2nd week in June last year as we got ready for the lobby entrance preparations. So we ended the year under construction, and we've started the year under construction, and I have not heard one complaint, one gripe, one naysay about anything. So I think that that's to be commended. Typical summers involved elementary teachers in the classroom for 30+ hours getting things ready. And I had 2 wings in my building, 3 wings actually, that had 4 hours on 2 separate days. So the stress level was certainly high. I had teachers breathing down my neck, and I put a lot of pressure on Mr. Scott, and he finally agreed that we could have 2 hours from 6 to 8 p.m. with my supervision. And I put out a week's notice to my staff saying you need to have on, hard-soled shoes, and you go right to your classroom and you close the door and you work for 2 hours, and then we have to leave. And it was a great coordination with the construction workers that were there, and Mr. Scott and my teachers. And teachers brought, I saw 25-year veterans coming in with their mom and their dad and their uncle and, everyone that they could get to come in and make the most out of those 2 hours. So we were actually able to do that first 2 hours, and it went so well that Mr. Scott agreed to give us 2 more hours. So we were able to pull it off, and actually the pre-K and K had to pull it off in even a more monumental suit because we had open house. And it actually was very up in the air for a little while of, is the building anywhere near acceptable to have open house? And weighing that with the fact that those pre-K and those K kids really need that comfort level, and the parents too, to come in and see the building. I will say I'm looking forward to the next few weeks when the building is all buttoned up and everything is done, inviting that same group of people back, because there were a lot of worried faces of parents when they're walking down the hall with lots of plywood up and wires hanging and lots of dust everywhere. So it'll be nice to invite them back and to see the finished product and to know that their kids are in a great place because of all the work that has been going on. So that's exciting. We have also welcomed our CFES fellows, Mallory and Brett, into the building, and they're acclimating very well, and I'm excited for the work that we're going to do with them through the Gear Up grant. We do have 1 new teacher and several new aides in the building this year, and all seem to be adjusting very well. Mr. Mannix and I were in talks very, very late into the summer and early days about increasing class sizes, especially at my kindergarten level. And we were able to get a few parents that agreed to move their children over to Cumberland Head for the year, so that worked out well. But it's nice to know that our district is certainly the place to be in the North Country, and people keep coming in and wanting to be where we're at, so that's a good thing.
The entryway is still abuzz daily with construction noise, and we are getting by with great anticipation of the great lobby that's to come. The cafeteria is coming along well, and as Roxy said, her and her crew and the custodians have put in place a very nice temporary line. It's working well, and things have gone off very seamlessly, so that's great as well. The students were greeted with music and smiling staff on Thursday morning, and they've returned with virtually little notice to the construction and the things that are still going on. So that's always a plus, and it always amazes me how quickly things really seem to fall into place. And you know, what was causing me sleepless nights just last week is now, you know, a very well-oiled machine, and we're off to a great start for the school year. So everything's going well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, probably have to use the mic. So I'm going to back up and talk a little bit about summer. We had summer school at Cumberland Head. We had about 9 classrooms open. The teachers did a really great job of making it fun for the students, but yet tying the academic piece in. So that was really, really great to see. We did have, which Roxanne already mentioned, we had the free meals hosted at Cumberland Head, and we had some regulars coming in every day, and the cafeteria staff was very welcoming and efficient and open, so that was great to see. So the custodians in our buildings and grounds, again, did a really great job at Cumberland Head, getting everything prepared for the school year while still cleaning the summer school rooms. There was a quick turnaround time. With the counseling office, the administrative area was under construction right up to the very end of summer. There was just not a lot of time to get things done, but they always seem to just make it happen. The ed tech crew was there hustling around, getting us prepared, so we thank you for getting us set for the school year. And let's see, up next, I'm going to still talk about some things for summer. Are really proud of the turnout for our teachers as far as their professional development. We had technology training days, we had next generation science standards curriculum writing days, mental health first aid training, and many of my staff served on hiring committees, so that was really, really important to have them and see them developing their own practice. Our 2 staff development days we provided training, top 20 training, and behavior management training, and that was really well received. I'm looking forward to continuing that work. So we had a great start to our school year. We had open house for pre-K and K. That was held at the end of August. That was really well attended. And same for grades 1 through 5. We did that in September. Teachers, of course, like Principal Paquette were saying that they spent about 30+ hours preparing in their classrooms, and you could really tell because the rooms look great, everything looks beautiful. So the students and teachers were all happy to be there. We had some tearful students not wanting to leave their parents, but yet we also welcomed in our 3-year-olds, and some of them aren't 3 yet, right? So we had some 2-year-olds leaving and some very tearful parents in the lobby.
Happy kids, tearful parents.
Yes. They made it through the day. We had all hands on deck and plenty of adult supervision in all areas and transition areas, and we pulled it together. So this school year we do have several new teachers, but we also have the added support of additional counselor. So I know that's going to have a definite positive impact in our school. We have 2 new social emotional programs we're implementing, and then a behaviorist is working with the district to help teachers with classroom management. And our BHSN had contacted me last week, and we are getting an extra clinician 1 day a week to help with the caseload there. So on the academic side, we have instructional programs for reading that we were piloted last year. We have really great results. So we're going to be fully implementing those this school year so that we have better choices, more choices for Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. So we'll just have more options and more ways to differentiate our instruction. And our committee work is going strong at Cumberland Head. We have an emotional wellness team that's already up and running to help teachers prepare behavior plans for students. Our Eagle Pride Committee, they're always putting on great performances for kids, and they're cheerleading and lip syncing, and they just go all out. We have our Culture Club Committee is getting ready to plan extra, nice things for the staff to keep people going through the year. Last year, each grade level
took a day out of the month, and we served dinner to our custodians, and we also hosted the bus drivers in the morning for donuts, so you can probably expect more of that. So every teacher is on some sort of committee, and we really have a strong culture of that at Cumberland Head, so we're hoping to see that going. So I guess that brings me to the end. I'm very excited to start my 3rd year here. I've appreciated the support from the superintendent, from the board, and of course my fellow admins. So just thank everybody, and I'm looking forward to another great year.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Mr. Lambert.
So this is my 26th start of school year here, and I'm always amazed when you look at what this place looks like over the summer, and everybody said it, but I'm planning on repeating it, that there's no possible way the school can open on time. When you see cranes and cinder blocks and plywood and everything a mess, and these guys and gals get it done, and the teachers get it done, and it's just astounding. So if you haven't spent time here over the summer, next summer, take a tour, because it's Herculean, the efforts that they put through. I'm only going to highlight 3 things because we always do the same things every summer, getting classrooms ready for the start of school, updating things. But there's a couple things that were different this year, and I just want to highlight those. The first of them, which you're aware of as a board, is that our department underwent a fairly intensive security audit. And I want to thank the board and the superintendent for making that possible, because I think that will truly help inform our department and the district in general of how we can update some of our best practices and better protect our assets, and not the least of which, of course, is the data that we house having to do with students and privacy. So I want to thank you for that. It was an eye-opening experience, and we're learning from it every day. So secondly, different than we've ever done before. So we've now been a one-to-one district. This is our 5th school year that we've done this. And previously we've had back-to-school distribution nights in the cafeteria. And the turnout has been acceptable, but not anywhere near where we'd like it to be, anywhere from 30 to 40%. So last year, thanks to the middle school and the high school, we piloted distributing those devices in the classroom on the first day or first couple of days of school. And those were for the leftovers from last year, the ones that didn't get picked up. This year, we decided that we were going to go full on, get them in the classrooms on the first day, and with scheduling challenges as they are, we had to do a lot of hustling to make sure that all those devices were where they needed to be on the first day. But having those devices in every kid's hands, or as many as we could possibly get in their hands on the first day, means that teachers were not hamstrung wondering when those kids were going to get their devices. So hats off, thank you for the collaborative effort between all of the principals, not just the middle school, high school, but the elementary has always been there doing that with us. And then lastly, the last thank you that I have is also to all of the administrative team and superintendent. We, as part of that security audit, one of the easiest things that we can do to help make us safe as a district, or safer, is implementing 2-step verification for employee accounts. When you consider the number and range of technology experience that we have in our staff, from high flyers to I don't want to touch technology and everywhere in between, seeing the numbers of people who have gone the extra mile to get it done, we're above, I think, 250 employees now, and our goal is to, by the end of the month, to have all of our employee groups. And so administrators have helped us take on that task of encouraging staff to get on board with it and really explaining to them what that impact is and why it's important. So anyway, thank you to the supervisors as well, because they're part of this this process as well. So those are really the big 3 for me, but there's always exciting stuff to come, so hopefully I'll have more reports for you later in the year.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next topic is a solar project, and our presenter is Richard Chung. He's a representative of Delaware River Solar. But before he starts, I just want to give everybody a reminder to make sure your microphones are on. And our audience doesn't hear us, so I suggest that you pull the microphone a little bit closer to you. Tap it.
I don't think it's on. Can you hear me?
It's on.
mobile, so it's my
Just so to make sure that everyone is heard, it was brought to my attention our last meeting that there were comments and questions that people wanted to hear and they couldn't hear. So, thank you very much.
The fan's not on it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Richard Chun, and this is Ryan Creel. We're from Delaware River Solar. And first and foremost, thank you very much for having us here to present our project. Clearly, it's a very busy evening, and from outsiders coming in, this is an amazing school. Everything we've heard so far is an incredible school, so I just wanted to start with that. Just getting right to it, because I don't want to spend too much time, because I know we're probably running a little behind, is that we are here because we are proposing, and we're actually pretty deep in the development stage of a solar project in the town of Plattsburgh. It's and we'll go through the various slides, but one of the things that I wanted to start off with was an introduction of our company. Delaware River Solar has been developing projects since 2015, and we've been all over the state of New York, in particular in the New York State electric gas regions and the Rochester gas and electric regions. We have offices, our main office is in New York City, but we also have offices in Sullivan County as well as in Rochester. As part of the development process, and the reason why we're here is that when we start initiating a process of developing a solar project, we do look at the various costs associated with the project. One in particular has to do with the real property taxes that are assessed on the project. So I'll get into that a little bit deeper, but one of the reasons why we're here with the school district is we typically do work with the local county industrial development agency, and one of the things that we have already submitted an application for this particular project. But what we'd like to do, and in particular this project, we want to come to the school district, introduce ourselves and the company, and work out another, it's a payment on top of the pilot that we typically do with the IDA. And I'll get into that a little further. And this is where I talk about how we do try to work with the local taxing jurisdictions for the project to come up with either a pilot or a host community benefit agreement. And in particular, this particular project, as I mentioned, is in the town of Plattsburgh. It's going to be owned by a company called New York Plattsburgh 1, and it's on Route 22. And not to go through too much of the details, given the time, you'll see that it's as I mentioned, it's going to be, actually up here, but it's going to be about a 3.7 megawatt project, which typically that's about, I would say, takes up about 20 or 30 acres of land. We have pictures of the proposed site and the simulated finished product at the end of this presentation. And obviously, I'll just start off with the benefits of a solar project. Obviously, it's consistent with any renewable energy initiative. I know the state of New York is the forefront in the state of, as part of the United States, as trying to really promote renewable energy, and it's consistent with the governor's efforts. And one particular thing about these projects, and I'll go on to the next slide, is it's a community solar program, meaning that you don't necessarily have to put solar panels on your roof, but typically people would consider participating in solar. What we do is we have a project and people subscribe to the energy on the project. So people who are interested in obviously being part of renewable energy, they can't put it on their roofs for whatever reason, they can subscribe to this, and you're part of now renewable energy solar. And in addition to that, obviously, there's some economic benefits to it. This is one of the reasons why the IDA has approved our projects in the past. We create local jobs, construction jobs, as well as actually earn income for the private property. For the person who owns it, we usually lease the property so that we could do the solar project. And you'll see some, not again to get too much into details, but these are some of the requirements to be part of the community solar program. And it's not just so I could add to it. This is a community solar program that actually is being adopted by a lot of states. It's not just the state of New York. It's the preferred method, I think, because it allows people, great number of people, and not just locally, because it's not just going to be for the town of Plattsburgh. It's for Clinton County in general. They could subscribe to this project. This is the program that is associated with the solar project, meaning that how this actually works is people aren't actually buying electricity from the solar project. What's happening is that under this program, we generate electricity, it goes into the grid, and the utility company actually gives a credit for that energy that's being produced. And what happens is that people who have subscribed to the project will see a credit on their bill. What we do next, and we're going to go to a one bill system, but right now, unfortunately, it has a two bill. So once the customer sees the credit on their bill, DRS provides an invoice for the electricity. And it typically comes with 10% discount to what they would normally expect to see on their bill. That's another benefit about this project.
Excuse me, quick question. So I noticed in that meter that they changed it from doing a kilowatt to kilowatt hour credit. Now it's a dollar adjusted credit. They basically tie a value to these credits. Before it was pretty straightforward, where net metering you could actually calculate, as you mentioned, per kilowatt hour. But now it's you've actually had a premonition where it became quite complicated how these credits are actually valued. It has to do with a complex system of giving certain factors of value. And there's some criticism about how that's all done. And so once the value is then stacked, it's a methodology where you actually end up trying to put a value on these bill credits. Right, but I can see that with wind in particular, because you have day and nighttime applications, but solar is daytime, so it's going to be at the same cost no matter, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I think it's kind of crafty for the power companies to do a dollar adjusted magic versus a true credit on kilowatt hour rate. Yeah, and it's been somewhat of a struggle for us too, in that with this system, the credits do actually end up being less in terms of before what we were expecting the net metering process. Yeah. Just going back to one of the reasons why we're here in the school district is that, as most throughout the state of New York, the school district typically takes the lion's share of the real property taxes. And so one of the things that the state of New York, in their great wisdom, they do have a real property tax law that provides an exemption for solar projects, a total 100% exemption. Okay, but we don't do that most of the time because a lot of the towns and school districts and the counties, they don't like that. Obviously, they're losing tax revenue. And we do try to work directly with these taxing jurisdictions to try to come up with a pilot program. Pilot is just short for payment in lieu of taxes. The problem with this law is that the taxing jurisdictions could, what they call opt out. They could opt out of this law. So it became somewhat of a struggle again to try to get all the taxing jurisdictions in any particular locality to agree to one pilot amount. So we ended up, which we found to be the most efficient, is to work with the various county IDAs, and they also have it's completely separate from the real property tax law, 487. The IDA, as you may or may not know, if they have an interest in the property, they actually get a tax abatement. So we lease and lease back the property, and then that's how the project becomes exempt from real property taxes. With that said, there is a pilot usually with the IDA, a payment in lieu of taxes, that's usually shared by the three taxing jurisdictions, the town, the school, and the county. And the reason why we're here is because we'd like to enter into a host community benefit agreement on top of the pilot, so that the school district is able to earn additional funds. But right now, it's barren land, as far as I remember,
and the tax assessment would probably end up, I think, probably earning maybe $1,000 or $2,000 per year. So on top of the benefits I mentioned earlier, putting an improvement of a solar project of that size, of 3.7 megawatt, would obviously increase the tax revenue in general for the taxing jurisdictions. And this is just a list of some of the other tax arrangements that we've negotiated with the various jurisdictions. You'll see we're all over, as I mentioned, in the state of New York. And in some cases, we've actually entered into directly payment in lieu of tax agreements. You see here, down there is Hilton Central School District. And this is not the first time we're here in Clinton County. We also have developed 4 projects already in the town of Morris. And we've already, it's been very successful, and we've worked with the Clinton County IDA on those 4 projects. This I won't get too much into, but this is the project economics, because I think one of the things which is a completely fair question is how much are we planning to make on these projects, and why we're asking for these tax abatements. Typically, solar projects cannot actually, what they call pencil in the finance world. It's not economically viable to actually pay the complete real property tax assessment on solar projects. They typically end up being, in a typical 2 megawatt project, you could end up seeing $50,000 to $100,000 worth of income tax, property tax, real property taxes, and it would not allow the project to be built. So one of the reasons why I think you have multiple programs like the real property tax exemption that the state of New York implemented, and the idea is going to help us out in these type of projects, is to actually give the projects economic certainty so that they could be actually financeable. And obviously, and you'll see here, in a typical project of this size and nature, you might see a 4,800 megawatt per megawatt pilot, and in this particular site, that would equate to about $20,000 per year, and that produces a return of 4.5% in this type of scenario.
Mr. Chen,
Yes,
we got a chance to see this. This is given to us by administration. Sure. I did have a question on this. What I did notice is, so that capital expenditure at the beginning, that assumes that the life cycle of those panels are going to last 25 years? Because that's unusual for solar panels to last that long.
Yes. So I think the standard industry assumption is that they will last 35 years. There's been some studies on panels in Switzerland that were put in the 80s that they've lasted that long. What is within these financial assumptions is degradation.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. So yeah, they'll last that time, but then the efficiency percent over the course of the life cycle should drop. Is that what that? Because that still shows. Is that included into that profit growth over the 25 years?
Yes. So that is incorporated within this. So there's a bunch of competing factors, and what builds up to the revenue, and some of that is whether there's growth in the wholesale electricity price market, which is part of the beater buildup, but the degradation of what we assume is 0.5% per year is incorporated.
With that said, in this slide presentation, I don't know if we were able to put the pictures up of the simulated project. And, there you go. Okay.
We sent the board. Mr. John, we sent the board those pictures today too.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So sometimes, obviously, because this is a local area, folks would like to see where the project actually is. So you see here on Route 22, this is town of Plattsburgh. I think it's I forgot what that is. I think it's a commercial building where this piece of plot land is there, and I think it's, as I mentioned, approximately about 20 or 30 acres for a size of a 3.7 megawatt project. And you should go next picture.
And I was just going to say that blue mark. You can't see the facility from the road, except from that blue mark up. You're kind of on a hill and can see it sliding. That's just what that blue mark.
Right. Obviously, we want to address any concerns by the town that this just creates some sort of a visual, unpleasant view of the character of the town. So we do our best to either put some type of brushes or trees that are minimizing the view of the solar project, while at the same time obviously gaining sunlight. And this is just a simulated view of what the finished solar project would look like. As I mentioned before, we're actually pretty deep in the development stage of the town. It's already been approved by the planning board, and this is just sort of the stage where we're trying to work out the final details of the economics of the project. Here's one picture of it.
So I would say, first of all, thank you, Mr. Chun. I would tell the board that once before did we have a company reach out to us and have an understanding of our issues that surround pilots. It's probably because you've done so much work in New York State. So you understand the 2% tax cap and how pilots affect school districts. So I appreciated working with you originally. Appreciate you coming here. The last project that had this type of understanding was actually an energy project that didn't actually win their RFP or whatever that was, and that was the Vermont Green Line project, which is going to be a nice partnership with the district. So hopefully we can, if the board wants to engage, we can further our conversations and work out the last part of the economic details to help you and help us.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, one of my concerns is how a pilot can impact our students' education, programming, our faculty. I appreciate that you, as a company, tried to make it whole.
Sure.
I'm very concerned with how you make us whole.
Sure.
And as time goes on and the value of that property increases because it's now a thriving business, is that effort to make us whole going to parallel that?
Okay. One of the points I made earlier, it's a very good question. It has to do with the current value, if you will, of the property right now, because there's no solar project on it. The real property tax revenue is insignificant to what it would be if a solar project was put on it. So, as I mentioned, even if we're talking about a $20,000 per megawatt project, I'm sorry, $20,000 total in tax revenue. Right now, I suspect the property is only earning like $2,000, and if we can't build on the project, it would still only earn $2,000 going forward.
Right.
Typically, these projects, when they are assessed, they actually go down in value. But we're willing to stay at a fixed rate because of the equipment itself for the project. It depreciates. So actually, the value actually starts going down. It starts depreciating. But we're willing to stay with a certain amount of those community benefit agreements throughout the term of the project.
I think that, as far as my perspectives go, that is significant.
Fair enough. Yes.
What is the depreciation tax relief now for this kind of solar program? It used to be 100% depreciation the first year, then it went down to 75%, then 50%. Where are we today? I haven't looked recently.
So with the new tax law that was adopted at the end of 2017, pretty much any equipment that any business buys, whether it's used or new, and puts into service, can be depreciated 100% the first year.
Oh, so it's
So, but typically we would still choose to do it over 5 years, just because we don't have. Most of the time there's not going to be that much taxable income. So
yeah, the revenue's not going to be too.
Does anyone else have any questions or concerns?
So I'm not asking for a board vote, but we did talk about this at the last meeting. Does it make sense to the Board of Education for me to continue discussing a host community agreement with Delaware Solar? And you're looking to go with a two-pronged approach with the pilot agreement and the host community
Yes, that's our understanding of how it would work, and the idea we discussed with them that we can discuss with the school district about community benefit agreement, and they're completely on board with it.
I would just report back to you our final.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and if there's any further questions, please, you could direct me to Mr. Mannix, and we're happy to answer any further questions. This is not your only opportunity, of course. And yeah, thank you very much again. I know this is, again, very busy. It seems like you get a lot done in your school board meetings, and we really appreciate the time you've given us to present to the board.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
All right, moving on to reports. Our report, Superintendent of Schools, Daniel Mannix.
I'll try to do it pretty fast, but like all the administrators said and all the supervisors, it was an impressive start to school. And I know you're always looking at the stuff lying around and you think the buildings and grounds, but I just want everybody to realize that without any one individual, our system's not going to work. And it doesn't matter whether it's cafeteria, busing, Chromebooks we heard about. Obviously, we need the buildings ready, the teachers ready. That's where the administration comes in. And then having a great day to have the students walk in with their smiling faces. And this year, with all the variables for disaster floating around, it was a really stellar start to the year. So I give everybody complete credit, because without one of them, we'd be singing a different song right now. So it was a great team approach. Everybody pulled their weight, pulled from the same side of the rope. So it was awesome. Plattsburgh Paving has taken over some of the work on the capital project, and I guess I have to point out that they are doing a fantastic job. Very happy to see them, local company, really helping us. The buses that Jim Chauvin talked about, and I wanted to point out that not only are they saving us dollars that he mentioned, but not having our students on diesel buses is actually a very significant environmental impact, and I believe it has a health impact, all positive for our students. So we're saving money, but it's also far greener, I guess, for everybody. You may have heard that during, I think it was day 2 with teachers, we had an auditorium issue, and we used buildings and grounds and a whole team of people to work on and rectify that. And as of this afternoon, we found out that the bricks will be going back in. There'll be a little meter reading any kind of seismic activity, and they'll be tied to the bricks behind them. So that's our engineers have done a tremendous job, and will be hopefully no more disturbance to the auditorium. For those of you that don't know, that auditorium is the original auditorium. When the school opened, that is what the auditorium looked like. So it's been kept in really good shape. Some people have mentioned our top 20 training. I think that was really fabulous to provide our teachers with that, and actually everybody with that type of training on day 2, along with, I think it was day 1, we had some student behavioral training for our educators. But the top 20 educators, actually, they come in and they help our staff. Basically, they enhance their ability to help our students with any type of social and emotional strategies and thinking and problem-solving abilities. So we're going to have them back. We're going to have them actually back with the students, and I'm sure we're going to continue to work with top 20 training. They are fabulous. VS cafeteria should be done next week. Turf field comes in, dropping off on Friday. Track has one more layer to go on, and we'll be off and literally running there. So a lot of moving parts, but great start to the school year. Great to see all the kids back and all the teachers and everybody. So that's all.
I have a question.
Sure.
The turf, you said Friday they're bringing in the turf to then be applied.
So on Monday they'll thought is on the 16th. I think that's Monday the 16th.
Yep.
They will start. So we're not making any promises because
those weather
stories. There's weather and all kinds of stories from all kinds of contractors I can tell you about. But the last time they put down a turf field, actually they're probably coming off a turf field right now, but before that, it took them 9 days, which is really good to hear. So somewhere between 9, I'm going to say somewhere between 8, if we want to be the best, 8 or 20 days. So it's going to take.
Yeah, I always heard 3 weeks. I guess that's building in some new way.
Yeah.
So there's enough time for that track polymer to cure before you put the turf down?
Yeah, the way, and totally on top of that, talking to the people putting it down. And if it rains, it cures, so you can be a little bit faster. So here's we learn.
And your track, you said, has one more layer, so they already put a...
Yeah, it looks it's all red right now, which is really good. It's
Should we give it a second?
It'll be a third layer on, and then they'll come back and after they'll put their layer down on the track. They'll move off the track and actually work on the triple jump, high jump, and a couple other areas while the A-turf comes in and puts the turf down.
Yeah.
And then somebody will come in, and this won't slow anybody down because it's just painting the lines. They'll paint the track lines at some point. Everybody's ready to go. Mr. Myers is begging to turn on the clock and the lights. It's an impressive facility, and hats off to the community for approving this for our students. You know, tennis courts are fantastic too, by the way. Fantastic.
Tennis courts are done or near.
They're done. They don't put the poles and nets up yet because people will be out there playing on them. There's just stuff around them isn't ready.
Yeah. But it's lined. I saw it was red. They lined them.
Yeah, red and gray.
Ready.
Do you have anything to add at this time? All right. Our next report is ex officio student board member Grant Decker.
Hi. So the first day went well. Of course, that was preceded by the sixth graders and high school freshmen coming in August for orientations. And the sixth graders, they get their locks on the Eagle Mart to see the high school, and then freshmen, of course, come into the high school, get a tour of the high school. They meet with the peer connectors, and that really helps things to run smoothly on the first day. Parking passes are being given out at a slower rate than last year, which is good because I think it will help prevent overflow parking, which happened last year. All sports are up and running. Games are going. Football, we got our first win. Yay. Clubs are having the first meeting. So National Honor Society was on Monday. The first drama club meeting was today. And the first Model UN meeting is on Thursday, so school's back.
Okay. Nice. Excellent. All right. Next, we're moving to committee reports, and the only report is audit committee. We met and discussed both June and July financial reports. Some of the things that we discussed was an update that was given by Ms. Parliament on the extracurricular accounts. We also discussed our external audit, and once again, Mike Bulris will be coming to our meeting to present our external audit. Some of our questions concerned tuition revenue, expenditures for foster students, our summer food program, and the expansion of possibly using something like a food truck for the future. Our next meeting is September 18th. All right. May it be resolved that the Superintendent of Schools recommends to the Board of Education to approve the following minutes. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Crystal. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Mark. Any questions or discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Resolution passes. May it be resolved that the Superintendent of Schools recommends to the Board of Education to approve the CPS recommendations dated 9/10/2019. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Pauline. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions or discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Resolution passes. May it be resolved that the Superintendent of Schools recommends to the Board of Education that the following resolutions on this consent agenda, resignations, appointments, and terminations, be and are hereby approved. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Crystal. Second?
Second.
Mark? Any questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Resolution passes. May it be resolved that the superintendent of schools recommends to the Board of Education that the following building level emergency response plans for the 2019-2020 school year be and are hereby approved. Beekmantown Elementary School, Cumberland Head Elementary School, Beekmantown Middle School, and Beekmantown High School. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Pauline, second.
Second.
Mark? Any questions or discussion?
I have a question. Was the only change in that from last year? It looked like it was the emergency response protocol for parent information. Maybe it was like only one line. Was it the bold that was the only change from last year?
There would be people that changed. People changed.
Well, other than personnel, right?
Schedules changed. Yeah, definitely floor plans were changing. There are a couple other changes.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was a lot.
No, there's not a lot. I mean, we it's not like we weren't, you know,
It was pretty complete before.
Yeah, it's pretty complete. We had a nice visit from the state police on Monday to help us look at reflect on our safety and security within our building plans, and we're going to engage with them to do a complete evacuation drill and also to do a couple tabletop exercises where they help us with active shooter situations and a couple other situations. The administrative team had a lot of great questions, and they'll be a good partner, and they're also going to stop by more often. So we've always put a premium on safety. I didn't talk about some of the safety things we did over the summer because we're running out of time, but the safety plan probably will be more updated as we enhance our understanding, and as we put into the safety plan a couple of things that we've done in our environment just very recently.
Any other questions or discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Resolution passes. May it be resolved that the superintendent of schools recommends to the Board of Education that the following resolutions on this consent agenda, financial reports, transfers, and grants, be and are hereby approved. May I have a motion, please?
A motion.
Thank you, Mike. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Pauline. Any question or discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Douglas Beebe,
Yes.
Kathy Buckley,
Yes.
Michael Hagedorn,
Yes.
Ed Marin,
Yes.
Christopher Michaud, Crystal Palmer,
Yes.
Nicole Pupor,
Yes.
Mark Sand,
Yes.
Colleen Stone.
Yes.
Resolution passes. All right. Next, we have additional items to discuss. The annual NISBA annual convention and education expo is in Rochester this year. Last year was in New York City. Is there a cutoff date that they need to notify you if they wish to attend?
Yeah, I think it was a long time ago.
No.
Yeah, 'cause
Early registration's gone by, but you still can go.
Yeah.
don't we have to have board approved?
No.
Oh, we don't? Because usually we
No,
approve
this
it. Oh, okay.
This is professional development.
Yeah, we put it in the
Even
budget.
better.
So if you're interested in attending, I'm pretty sure NISBA would have sent out I think they sent an email out to everyone.
They're constantly sending out an email
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
still receive those emails from them. If you need more information on this, have to send you information, and we probably should put a cutoff of like, if it's on the 24th, how about 9/24? It's a month. Have you register and find a hotel room and figure out how we're going to get you to Rochester.
All right, so could you please let Joanne know before September 24th if you would be interested in attending. All right.
And the district will pay the cost. There'll be no cost to
Right.
anybody who wants to.
There's lots of people going, so we can do carpool as well.
Yeah, there's
Yeah. Right. The next is public comment. We have set aside 10
Okay,
minutes.
there was a couple of, I'm sorry.
Oh,
There's
that's
some
the only
other-
thing?
I know, something on there.
Oh,
but
okay.
There were some things going around in the email, and I said, well, it's a great thing to discuss at the board
Okay.
table.
So yeah, I just have one item to follow up on. Early at the end of last school year, a student had sent an email about going back to using hard trays instead of throwaway trays. So just going through looking to see if that was any more information had been guided from either facilities, student body, et cetera, and the interest level in that, the applicability of it. I understand there's many moving parts in that decision.
Yeah, there's a butterfly effect there for sure. And it's a conversation we probably have every 2 years. I remember going through the numbers with Mary Blaine before, and Roxy always, right? The situation is, as you know, we always are quite happy to share with everybody how many lunches and breakfasts we hand out. I think what happened is not having the write-up from the students, the 7th or 8th grade students that crafted that correspondence. I think they just said, okay, if you have this many meals, every meal has a tray, therefore you're using this many trays, and it would have this kind of impact on the environment. A lot of our students don't, a lot of our students have grab-and-go breakfasts up with the kiosks, and they don't have a tray for every particular meal. And Cumberland Head, I don't even think they use the plastic trays, they use the hard trays because it works over there, and but they have a lot more staff at Cumberland Head, so that's a key component to this. If we want this, and it's always been this way, if we want to go to the hard trays, we should know a bunch of, we should have a bunch of information. I'm going to give you a skating tour of that information right now. The hard trays have usually silverware with them. Unfortunately, our young kids hand those back pretty efficiently, but sometimes they lose the silverware when they dump it, right? But our older folks actually sometimes throw it in the garbage when we previously, years ago, when they had the trays at the high school. So there's a replacement for those. But also the washing machine. So the idea is, oh, we're going to go green, getting rid of the styrofoam, which everybody likes that idea. It's nobody wants more styrofoam. But the part of the equation too is we're then turning on the dishwasher, running the dishwasher. Maybe we're using solar power on that. And we're going to use that dishwasher from 8 in the morning or sooner all the way through to 2 in the afternoon. And in that dishwasher goes more than just the soap you put in at home, because this is students and there's just like a higher level of awareness for cleanliness. So we put in soap and we put in a couple other sanitation things. So really what we're doing, there's a lot of water that really isn't that usable anymore. So the trade-off for the styrofoam is we raise our carbon footprint on the electricity, maybe, right? But we certainly raise it. We raise a environmental issue with water. The water's big. We've done, actually that same group has done a lot of projects over the years with water. Then on top of that, if it takes somebody to manually load each tray in, and the idea was that the students would do this. Students can't do that. They can't work in the kitchen and go to school. So there's a cost for the employee, the retirement, the FICA, for that. So when you really look at, if you were going to have the employees do that without looking at the water and electricity, you're looking at about $50,000 for the year. Then the other idea was, I said, well, because it's every couple of years, and you just think the cost is going to go down because technology becomes better. And the cost, I think, for like a paper moldable tray, there's all different types of costs, but maybe one that might work was adding, again, about $47,000, because there still are a lot of trays. I was trying to minimize the trays before, but we still go through a pile of trays hundreds of trays every day. So I think we were doing the math today. I forgot what it was per tray, but we were just multiplying out into 181 days. So no matter how you cut it, you're probably looking at an expense. If these are the only things we look at, we're probably looking at an expense of about somewhere near in the neighborhood of $50,000 moving away from the trays. The other thing we could do is, and I just gave you a few things that we've thought of. Another thing we can do is have a committee. See who else has other ideas and what else is out there. I'm not going to say for a second that I've exhausted all the resources and I have this all figured out. That's not what I'm just trying to give you an idea of what are some of the other things in play here. So I know it's a good issue. Lastly, here's another thing I really want people to consider. It's very interesting to identify a problem, and this is we talked about this in Top 20 training. The world is full of problem identifiers, right? But what we're trying to build our kids to be are problem solvers. Thank you. Good. Problem solvers. And one of the ideas is we want you to stop providing straws to our kids unless they're paper straws. But wouldn't it be better to have the student body be talking about let's not use straws. Mm-hmm. Let's not use straws here on campus. Let's not use straws at McDonald's and Taco Bell and wherever else we do. And that becomes more of not a Beekmantown has changed the environment. We don't use straws. We care about the environment. We don't use straws anywhere anymore. And that's a whole different type of learning. One is we're just solving the problem for people because they've identified it. The other is students are taking that into their own hands. So that should be part of the discussion. Mm-hmm. But nobody's afraid to have the discussion. It's a good discussion. Nobody's got their stake in the ground. We want to keep doing this or that. Nobody feels that way. We just want to do the right thing. We want people to know that sometimes to do the right thing. So it's funny. Sometimes there's a cost, right? I just got through talking about the buses. It's an environmental positive impact to our students and our environment, but it's actually saving us money too. So that's the true win-win in the whole thing. And maybe there is that way to do that. Okay.
And plus, it needs to be sustainable. And we're in a really wonderful place right now with our extended learning time grant. But if that goes away, it's a lot of money. Oh, it's a lot of money. Well, I mean, it would be. It's a lot of money. It's probably a lot of money because of the food program, because we have so many free meals that we give out. And absolutely, you don't want to do this for 2 years. Right.
I'd like to commend the students for actually bringing it up and looking into it.
No doubt.
Right. I think that is great, that they're looking
for ways
forward to this and a way to do stuff.
Well, if you do a committee, Dan, it'd be nice to have the kids be a part of that whole circle of analysis and closure of not just shutting it down, you know what I mean? And then them learning that, like you said, that sometimes the pursuit has other problems associated with it.
Well, the question was to the board, does the board want to do a committee? That question was, if you said, if you want to do a committee, Dan, okay. And I wasn't saying, I was like, if you want to take the deep dive into this, put on the shoes and let's go dive, right? Let's take the deep dive. If you want to if you're telling us to dive, we'll dive. All right. But if it is of interest to the Board of Education to move in this direction, be part of this discussion as they brought forward to you, I'm saying join. I think that would be really have a couple board members, have Roxy, have a few students, a few teachers, a few parents, administrators, right? And just brainstorm it. But what would probably not be the best idea is to have Roxy and I figure this out, or have a small subgroup of the population. Because one thing I'm going to tell you is you're on the board long enough, these things they'll come back and they'll come back. And so saying we've really looked at it, not to beat all these conversations to death, but there was a lot of talk for a lot of years about losing students, and we're not losing students anymore. We're gaining students, but we're losing students. And should we consolidate our schools? And that was a constant conversation before I became superintendent. I said, let's stop having the conversation. Let's have a committee dive into this. Look at the educational benefits, the pros and cons, the costs, expenses, all the things. So, was anybody here on that committee?
I wasn't on the committee.
You were on the committee. You remember doing it. So, Gary was on the committee. I was on the committee. So that was an appropriate way to do that. So then if somebody comes back, so now you would go and look at that and say, does that make sense because we're growing? We know the answer, our population is growing.
And with that being said, do you have access, or can we pull out the last time maybe we tackled?
We have some, we have the last time we went through this, it was really handled at the cafeteria business office level, and we did an analysis of what was available. There's other things that have been in place since then too. Like we're probably going to receive a grant every year for $20,000. So you can't say, the dishwasher, and talk about the dishwasher costing us money, because we probably could write that grant for a dishwasher, right? We probably could.
And then EPC, didn't we have some changes there?
Yeah, we're saving. I mean, we're saving a lot of our carbon footprint is a lot lower. Our water use is a lot lower because of the EPC. Cafeteria is far more efficient, but that's not going to impact the washing.
I guess from our perspective, it would be an interesting thing to read before we make a decision on spending more time and energy into going through that process again.
Say that again.
It would be an interesting thing to read than the last time you went through it, or the information.
Let's start with some more baseline data, more baseline information.
I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, but for myself, if I had something to read and then I could say, oh, I think I pretty well know how I feel about this, then I would say we don't need to form a committee, but some people may say they still do.
I like that idea. That's something I can get behind.
It is, because you can see if any information needs to be updated or not, and it'd be nice for the students to be a part of the resolution too.
Well, those students, one of the things Roxy said, those students are gone. It was a nice idea. It was project-based learning. They're freshmen now. They're on to global studies and something else.
It was still their idea. They're still here. So.
But what I think maybe what we can do is, if it's good for the board, is Roxy, myself, Jen can come up with some scenarios. If anybody, including Grant, has some other things that I didn't bring up, like, hey, have you thought of this or haven't you thought of that, send me an email and we'll see if we can put it in and come back and put it in an update to the board, give you some more information, more discussion.
Sure. And then we can say, yes, there's something to do for a future committee, or no, it's been answered through prior research. Right.
I'm fine with that. That's a nice approach.
Excellent. Is there anything else you would like to add to additional items to discuss?
Chris brought that up.
We kind of talked about it a little bit at the second. I want to kind of bring to the board, just as a cursory question, maybe for discussion later, more discussion is revisiting how our student athletic involvement can help improve the mental I think you put it really well when you were leading.
The emotional well-being.
Emotional well-being of the student body. We have modified sports, we have JV, we have some other type of things, and we have varsity. I just want to see if we're making sure that the students, all students get an opportunity to participate as much as they can, and we don't cut students if we don't have to. If you have one person who doesn't make it, can they still be on it with a caveat, with a certain condition? Because a lot of students enjoy the sport. Sometimes they may not be all the way up to speed on it, but they can grow in it, and it helps them with academics as well. Anyway, more of the mental, the emotional well-being component as it relates to sports and what we can do to improve it. Anyway, I'd like to have further discussions on that, kind of evaluate our athletic program, or have some feedback on it. If there's anything that, maybe there's some things that don't work out very well because it's difficult. You have too many kids on one team, and it's just.
But maybe we don't want to keep it so narrow as to one aspect.
Yeah.
How about creating a sense of belonging and participation throughout the district, not just athletics, but clubs and may they be
music or
drama or academic or chess.
Whatever boosts serotonin.
Yeah. So. Right. Anything else?
You guys brought up extracurricular activities. Be on the lookout for a fishing club, and be on the lookout for a potential e-sports club. Okay, which are things we're talking about at the high school.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Love or hate, it's there.
Yeah, I did hear something about that.
Which one, the esports or the fishing?
The esports. I heard about fishing. I didn't know about that.
I mentioned it to one student. He happens to be a son of one of the board members, and he says he's no longer playing football because he's on the fishing.
I better not be saying that.
the idea is that we have so much industry and so many fishing tournaments around here. And we were playing basketball in the winter, and a group of us in Paul Smith's, and they had the NCAA, they were the NCAA fishing champions or something like that. And it's like, how come we don't have more high schools having fishing teams? So, and we participate in some of the tournaments and whatnot. And this esports are big colleges as well. And it's just, that's something that there's maybe 5 or 6 schools in upstate New York that are looking to participate in that. But granted, you're not going to quit football to do esports.
It's tempting, but.
All right, moving on. All right, we've set aside 10 minutes for our second public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment at this time, I please ask that you come forward and state your name. Seeing that there is no one at this time, we will be having an executive session tonight. So, we need to appoint a clerk pro tem. Do we have a volunteer? All right. May it be resolved that the Board of Education appoint Ed Marin as our clerk pro tem for this meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Right. Doug, did you second? Okay. All questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Thank you, Ed. Yeah. May it be resolved that the Board of Education enter into executive session to discuss collective negotiations pursuant of Article 14 of the Civil Service Law and employment history of a particular person or persons.
And there's no action anticipated after.
All right, may I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Mark. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Crystal. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Resolution passes. We will take a short intermission and then we will, I'm sorry, intermission.